Antonio Spurs in their first game of the Western Conference semifinals. Tonight's playoff action on KIRO television is brought to you by Olympia Beer, featuring pure artesian brewing water, brought to you by the Artesians, and by People's Bank. People first and bankers second. Hi, everybody. I'm Wayne Cody. This is Jim Marsh. And after last Friday night's game down in Houston, I truly wondered if the Supersonics would be playing any basketball this week. They were held to 70 points. Houston beat them, but then the Sonics came back convincingly in the Coliseum on Sunday. So here we go, round two, San Antonio. First question. We lose the first four this year to San Antonio, then rout them in the fifth game. Why on both counts?
I think you can pretty much discount three of those defeats as they happened early in the season when Seattle had yet to gel. This San Antonio Spurs team matches up very well against the Seattle team in that they like to run. They're averaging 113 points a game, and they're very disciplined in the half court. They have an incredibly dominating, wonderfully talented George Gervin at the outside position that just is very, very tough to defend.
All right, we'll watch it and see what happens. It's a 7-game series tonight and tomorrow in Seattle. Friday, Sunday in San Antonio, and then they alternate Seattle, San Antonio, Seattle if needed. We'll tell you the story. Jim Marsh, I'm Wayne Cody. Stay with us. The Sonics and the Spurs coming up.
You know, I feel real sorry for the artisans. They're the ones who make that pure artisan.
It really should be a honey tonight. I don't know what to expect in the opening games of the playoffs. San Antonio is rested. They haven't played a game in, 9 days. The Seattle Supersonics had to battle their little hearts out to knock out the Houston Rockets in that mini-series. What effect do you think that'll have?
Well, I think that Seattle now has some good momentum going into this series. They played awfully well against the Rockets on Sunday, and I think that will help them get out of the starting gate very quickly tonight.
All right, key matchups. When you talk about San Antonio, you have to talk about George Gervin. When you talk about the Supersonics, many people lean on Lonnie, Jack, and Gus. Maybe a key matchup.
Very quickly, I think it's Wally Walker and Mark Olberding. That is a key in my view.
All right, Sonics and the Spurs from the Kingdome, a late arriving crowd tonight here for game number 1, game number 2 right here tomorrow night. Then Friday, Sunday, games 3 and 4 in San Antonio. After that, who knows? Game 5, if needed, back here in Seattle. If you happen to miss the last Seattle Supersonics game against San Antonio, you missed the best. Wasn't that the 25-point blowout, 111-86? But the first 4 games of the year, you could have passed those up and you would have been happy because the Sonics lost 4 straight. Let's introduce the starting lineups for the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to go tonight with the guards, Johnny Moore, he's 00, and of course George Gervin, 4s. Then they're also going to go at forward with one of the newcomers out of Auburn, 3rd-year player Mike Mitchell. And remember, Mitchell started the year with those confused Cleveland Cavaliers, and now, of course, he's with the San Antonio Spurs. The other forward will be Mark Olberding, and the center will be George Johnson. Let's go to George Tolles for the announcement of the starting lineups for San Antonio.
Mark Olberding. Number 34, 6'7" from Auburn is Mike Mitchell. At center from Dillard, 6'11", number 52, leading the NBA in block shots, George Johnson. At guard, 00, 6'3" from Texas, the NBA's leading playmaker, Johnny Moore. And number 44, 6'8" from Eastern Michigan, the NBA's leading scorer, George Gervin.
Stan Albeck is the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. By the way, George Gervin, 30 years old today. The Iceman, probably, midway in his NBA career. Who knows if he can play till 38 years old.
Nice thin body. He does take a lot of punishment, though, so 4, 5, 6 more years be about it for George.
Fred Brown introduced for the Supersonics. Next, James Donaldson. Here's John Johnson, who has certainly helped the Supersonics.
In the playoffs, 10 assists, second only to 27 from Gus Williams.
Greg Kelser being introduced. Mark Radford, who's in civilian clothes and not playing in this series. Here's Phil Smith, a fine late season acquisition. And Raymond Tolbert, the rookie out of Indiana. Finally, Danny Brains from the University of Utah, now the starting lineups.
From Virginia, 6'7", number 42,
Wally Walker starts at forward. Wally in the regular season averaging almost 10 points a game. Lonnie Shelton out of Oregon State 6 years ago at 15 points a game. Bill Hanzlik, who says he's never been more ready to play a series at 6 points a game. Here's Gus, 23 points a game. And Jack Sikma at 19 points a game during the regular season. Lenny Wilkins, Les Hunting, and Dave Marshman away, obviously scouring that Phoenix LA series because they'll want to know even more about those two clubs than they obviously know already.
When you get down to playoff time, the nuances can't be too minute. You get in and dig and try to get any little edge that you can in such a short series.
All right, as you take a look at the series, the Sonics, of course, losing 4 out of 5. Let's take a look at the referees, first of all. There is an alternate in all these games. On the left is Hugh Hollins. On the right, Ed Rush. They're the two gentlemen that will referee the game. Bill Saar is in the middle. He'll sit behind the official scoring bench, watch timeouts and things like that, and would be an alternate in case of illness. But Hugh Hollins and Ed Rush are the officials of note. The other series, of course, it's Phoenix after LA. Philadelphia, Milwaukee could be the honey because I think Boston might take 4 straight from Washington. Just an opinion.
Well, it's a good bet.
All right, we're ready to go. Game 1, 7-game set, which means you win 4, you take the series. We got a loose ball foul.
Loose ball foul.
Yep.
Right away, Lonnie was circling that ball with both hands, very, very strong, just like you would for a rebound, and George Johnson gets a very quick foul.
First 2 seconds of the game. I don't think I've ever seen anyone that foul that quickly. All right, Sonics will work to the west end of the Kingdom. Wally at the foul line. We'll set up the Spurs for you. The jumper by Lonnie, good. Shot it right over the top of Mark Olberding, the forward out of Minnesota. 2-0 Sonics.
So many keys, and I mentioned Wally Walker versus Mark Olberding, but most certainly Seattle needs to get some good offense out of Lonnie Shelton.
0-0 Johnny Moore. That's Mark Olberding, part of the Bruise Brothers combination, as they call it up front. I guess there's so many of them. Corzine is a Bruise brother. They talk about what I would imagine Olberding certainly being a Bruise brother. George Johnson.
Gene
Banks. Just a nickname they came up for themselves as Lonnie gets the rebound. Gus shovel to Wally. Tapped by Moore. Who's going to save it? Jack went up. No foul. Wally's got it back in the corner. Double team. Batted out. And the Sonics will have it.
The only game Seattle won in this series this year against the Spurs was when Gus Williams was the leading scorer that 3 weeks ago on national television. So we'll look for how quickly and how often Seattle can get the ball to number 1 in the break.
Jack shoots it, no good, but a foul called by Hugh Hollins, and it's against George Johnson. 2 quick ones on George.
Well, Dave Corzine, Johnson's backup, certainly has played well against the Sonics, and Jack Sikma not really caring who he plays against, but it's no easy task to play against Corzine when he does enter the game for Johnson.
Sonics have got to get their concentration back, of course, tonight after beating Houston. They had a tough little series there, which sometimes you figure could work for them, or did they get overly tired trying to put Houston away while San Antonio was resting? These are things that just have to answer themselves.
At this point in the season, you're really playing on adrenaline and emotion, and the playoffs really stimulate both of those things.
Because if somebody says they're not physically tired after 85 basketball games plus the practice games, they've really got to be kidding you. Moore up, nice tip. Let's see, we had a choice of Mitchell or Johnson. I think it was Mitchell. Mitchell gets credit for it, and it's a 4-2 game. Gus plays into Moore, goes down the lane, shoots it left-handed off the glass, and we got a foul on 0-0. Johnny Moore.
Johnny Moore has had about as much success as any guard in the league has had against Gus Williams. And right now, he's nearly as quick as Gus, though I don't believe as quick, but he's just about as quick as Gus and does offer some resistance when Gus wants to go to the basket.
Sonic shooting a tremendous number of foul shots during practice. Gus got 1 out of 2, Sonics 3 out of 4. You saw Gus had 12 assists Sunday. The Iceman misses. Tip, no good. Batted away. Wally's after it. 2 men run in. Moore got it back. Came into Jack and held the ball for San Antonio. Mitchell and Gervin will shoot 75% of the shots for this club now.
Almost at will.
Gus.
That certainly is a good sign for the 19,000 partisans in attendance. 3 points for Gus. More importantly, it's a jumper on the break for number 1.
An amazingly small crowd on a Tuesday night to me as Gervin hits the bucket, and it's a 7-6 game. Hanzlik to Wally. Apparently the fans are simply saving their money and they're going to come to the later games anticipating live commercial television. Oh, there's a shot by Gervin you have to put in your highlights of George. Uh-oh.
A quick technical on Coach Stan Albeck.
The technical foul on Coach Olberding.
Stan Albeck picks up a technical foul. Right to his right, left in your screen now directly behind him, John Anderson of Seattle, who used to be the Sounders trainer. And now he's the trainer for the San Antonio Spurs. Look at Stan. Something riled him early.
Well, he didn't like the fact that there was no call on that shot by George Gervin.
Jack can tie it up with this foul shot on the technical and gets it.
Though these two teams are very rugged inside, I don't imagine it will be as much of a contest of strength inside as the Houston game was, the Houston series, from the standpoint that Houston is an inside-dominated team, and both of these teams have explosiveness from all over the court.
Albeck talked to Eddie Rush about the lack of a call by Hugh Hollins, and Ed said, now you've got 1 technical. Sit down if you want to see this game. Hanzlik, the Gus, same spot, offensive foul underneath as Hollins maybe comes up with a little make good, and Jack Sikma turns around. He says, what? Jack cannot believe the call. He says, I didn't touch anybody. And Hugh Hollins maybe be appeasing Stan Albeck. You never know. They don't do that, do they?
No, I don't think so.
I doubt it. Here's Olberding. In and out. Hanzlik, one-handed rebound, looks down floor. Had a choice on the left. Goes in under. Nice layup. Doesn't get it. Olberding with a rebound. Mitchell at the foul line. See what we mean? They shoot when they want to. And Gus gets it back at half court, working 1-on-4. Lonnie's going to take the shot.
A lot of running, not many baskets right now.
Nope. Olberding at the other end. Gervin.
That's a good bat.
He can usually get one for you. And the Spurs are out 10-8 as the Sonics had the lead moments ago. But now the Spurs have it. Sonics led by 4, now San Antonio by 2. Bill Hanzlik over the head and back to Jack. He's double teamed, takes it anyway and gets it.
This Spur team is much maligned for their defense. Nobody thinks they play any defense. They're just a run and gun outfit. But believe me, they're a very tough defensive team.
First ball foul.
Johnny Moore is called with a loose ball foul. That's going to be his second of the ball game and the 4th team foul of the Spurs. The Sonics are foulless. One on Jack, but it was offensive, not a team foul. Jack going to try it again, gets it. Many people said, Jim, honestly, that the Sonics are in the best bracket, though Houston was tough. They felt the Sonics had a better chance against San Antonio than Phoenix. What do you think?
Well, Lenny Wilkins, you know, says that when you get this far, all the teams are tough and capable of beating you, and I like to echo his words on that. I don't know that I'd rather face Phoenix or San Antonio.
Olberding shot off the mark, tipped away by Johnson. Jack Sikma and George were both there. It goes out of play, and the Sonics get the ball back. 7:40 to go first quarter.
You get this far, you're not going to play Mother Mary Sisters of the Star.
That's true. Who?
I don't know.
Gus into Moore. Fall away? No. Air ball by 1.5 feet. Traveling. Oh, that's a... Well, there's a foul called by Eddie Rush on Wally Walker. So he saw something that none of us did. I thought that George had gone in the air with the ball, come down, and then gone up again. I thought there was traveling called. He calls a foul on Wally. His first team foul in this first quarter. George Gervin 12-footer. No, off the mark, and Wally starts the Sonics running quickly. Look out. Well, I don't know how he couldn't have been fouled, and they throw it the other end to Gervin.
Wally echoes your sentiment as he gives Hugh Hollins a nice long look.
Lenny says, how could 5 guys be in front of him? That's what he just said, and not get fouled if he tripped like that. Well, Lenny being calm. Lonnie spins on Olberding, gets the shot. Nice play by Lonnie Shelton on a very tough brick wall. Mark Olberding.
Boy, Lonnie looks quick in the opening minutes.
He certainly does. The Sonics are going to take a timeout. 6:34 to go. First quarter at the Kingdom. The opening game of the series against the Spurs. And at the moment, the Sonics are up by 2, 14-12. Live tonight in the Yakima Valley. And also in the Tri-Cities area on KEPR TV. And over in Lewiston, Idaho on KLEW TV. They'll also be joining us again tomorrow night for Game 2 of this series. If you're coming to the Kingdom, plenty of tickets available for tomorrow night's 7:35 start against this same club, San Antonio. It's do or die with the Spurs until one team knocks the other out, and then on to play either Phoenix or LA, the winner of that series.
A lot of precincts still reporting, but Seattle now shooting 5 for 10, 50%. San Antonio 6 for 14, 42%.
A lot of precincts still to report. I like it. More. Tie ball game, 14.
That is a plus for San Antonio when they can get any kind of offense out of Johnny Moore. He's the NBA's leader in assists at just over 9 a game.
Averages 9 points a game as well. Out of Texas, second-year player. Bill Hanzlik, no. Gervin gets the rebound just by it bouncing to him without much effort. Moore goes the other way. Goes down to a knee trying to fake Gus. Gervin to the hoop. Off-balance shot, and Jack all alone for the rebound. To Gus. Offensive foul on Wally Walker. Wally clearing somebody out inside, and again he's upset, but that is what, the 473rd millionth NBA player that's upset at a foul called against him. Bill Russell made a comment about that last week on TV. That's Mitchell. Nope. Wally behind Johnson, might have caught a foul there. Oh, that one accidentally tipped in by Mike Mitchell. Just an accident that went in. The Spurs lead by 2. More on Gus. Well, offensive foul is called on Gus. Olberding gets knocked down. Gervin blocked the shot, and Moore stayed right with Gus and harassed him, and Gus still got the foul. Watch it again.
Oh boy, Mark Olberding was certainly moving when Gus was airborne. I'd like to differ on that call.
That's Olberding on the left. Taken away by Lonnie. As you said, he's quick. Look at Gervin get it back. Jack bats it away. Nice anticipation by Jack. Hanzlik behind the back to Jack. Woo! And Lonnie takes it outside. Gus fakes once, twice, now to Hanzlik. Lonnie, nope. And Johnson gets the rebound. They go to Gervin in half court. Well, they got to stop the Iceman, George Gervin. 18-14, Spurs by 4.
Easier said than done. You have to get some help. And in the open court break situation, it's very difficult to do that.
He averaged 32.3 a game, the leading scorer in the NBA. Jack fronts and missed. Ed Rush calls a loose ball foul underneath on Lonnie Shelton. Well, the crowd in a few minutes is going to start getting unhappy with some of the calls. Right now, James Donaldson in for Wally Walker.
Right now, Seattle in the midst of stagnant offensively, not shooting very well. They're getting some pretty good shots. They're being harassed by the Spurs, who are playing very, very good defense at the moment.
Moore to the baseline, no basket. Eddie Rush called it. He says there's a foul. Stay here. And it's going to be against Gus, doing a little hand checking. That can be anything from pushing somebody in the back to sticking your hand in their pants. There he is, pushing
it was
inside.
right there.
Yep. So the Spurs have the ball and still with the lead by 4. Mitchell. James Donaldson clears it with a big rebound. Hanzlik to Gus.
You could see that coming about 15 feet away. We don't see his eyes, but his eyes got very large when he got about 10 feet away. You knew he was going to dunk it. Oh, my goodness, that's nice.
18-16. Olberding off the heel. Jack with a rebound. Like he got fouled by Mitchell. No call. Gus has it 4-on-4. Follows Donaldson to the hoop. Won't go, but Gus gets fouled. Johnny Moore picks up his 1-2, I think, third personal foul. It is.
It's a very, very important from the Sonic side of things, as Johnny Moore does as good a job, again, I repeat, does as good a job as anybody in this league at halfway containing Gus.
Here's a guy we remember from Phoenix, and I think didn't he go to Cleveland for a while, and now he's down with San Antonio. Mike Bratz, the Stanford 5-year veteran at 6'2", 185, contributed 7 points a game for this team. Good reserve guard.
Excellent shooter, just a tremendous perimeter scorer, and that's important when you're playing alongside of George Gervin.
Gus is 1 out of 4 from the line tonight, and now Jack Sikma picks up a foul. And I'll tell you something, Ed Rush and Hugh Hollins are going to have a lot of reserves in this ball game if they keep whistling them this tight.
Well, that technical foul that Stan Albeck got early is paying some dividends right now. He's getting some pretty good calls.
So Jack gets his second. 3:30 still to go first quarter. Still San Antonio by 2. Gervin has to get rid of it. Here's Bratz. Nope, Jack takes it away. Got to get some rebound and help, of course, from Lonnie and Donaldson. Now Hanzlik. Oh, fine pass by Bill. Goes to Lonnie. Tipped in. Great play by Lonnie, who stayed with it.
Excellent vision on the part of Billy Hanzlik to spot Lonnie Shelton after the early game broke, and Lonnie now has 6.
18-18 San Antonio will take a timeout. 2:53 to go in the first quarter at the Kingdom. Game 1, the Spurs of the Sonics, and it's tied at 18.
Lynn's tour continues on PM Magazine tomorrow at 6:30 here on KIRO TV.
Specialty of the house, Hanzlik on ice. 7 out of 16 for the Supersonics in shooting. 9 out of 23 for the Spurs. And we're back to live action. 18-18, 2:50 to go, first quarter. Ball away, Olberding missed it. Donaldson had it knocked out of his hands. He bats it away and then gets the foul called. Well, James had the ball and could have saved himself a lot of grief and also saved himself a personal foul, but well, he went after the ball and gave it up.
James brought the ball down a little bit low, and when you do that, players that are smaller than you, in this case George Gervin, have an opportunity then to go after it.
George Johnson with that underhanded layup shot, or foul shot rather, shoots 67% from the line. Donaldson gets the rebound to atone for the foul. Spurs by 1.
Not nearly as good as the guy that made that famous Rick Barry, who missed one about every 10 years.
That's about right. Lonnie back to Jack, a little 2-man in front of Olberding. About 10-12 footer, I guess, down the line, and Jack hits it. Jack with 9 points to lead the Sonics, and they go up by 1.
What Donaldson's entrance into the game means is that Olberding has to play Jack Sikma. That's certainly an advantage for Seattle, at least height-wise.
Bratz with a big bandage around his right thigh, aching a bit. Here's Olberding. Continues to shoot, though he's not hitting, and Gus gets the loose pop ball. Hanzlik was there, couldn't quite get the tip in. Bratz gets it at half court. Going to take the shot. He hits. Mike Bratz hits it. 7.7 per game, gets his first 2, and the lead changes again. 21-20. The Spurs have it. 1:42 to go, first quarter. Hanzlik guarded loosely by George Gervin. Jack guarded closely by Olberding, who fouled him.
Mark's best play there is to really snug up on Jack, and when he puts it to the deck, Mark, who's probably a little bit quicker, has an advantage in that situation.
Yeah. Olberding picks up his first foul, and of course the Spurs were already over the limit, so Jack will go to the line. Fred Brown comes in for Gus Williams, and Gus will get a nice round of applause.
Plus the penalty shot.
Interesting to watch how the substitution changes once playoff time comes. The veterans getting much more time, longer periods of time, than they did in the regular season.
Listen to this Kingdom. Isn't that amazing? It's how quiet.
Especially in comparison to the Coliseum, the last two games that almost lifted the rafters off Sunday afternoon as Seattle built up a big lead.
Jack can put the Sonics up by 1 and does. 22-21. Sonics over the Spurs. Sonics led by 4 at one time. The Spurs led by 4. Jack now has the 11 points. Olberding playing a good string here, but Gervin will probably play 42, 44 minutes, and he gets 1 on the run. The Iceman has 12 to lead all scoring.
They clear the side out for him and give him an avenue to the basket. He's just so difficult to defend, no matter how many people you throw at him.
Bratz lost his man. They go to Donaldson in front. Oh, James on the rim. Couldn't get it in. Jack will shoot and missed it. Ball's going to be tipped. Brown saves it. Yes, to Hanzlik. They got a new clock, no problem, and the Sonics keep it. Nice play by Fred Brown in the corner. Lonnie unhappy.
Well, James is unhappy. Looked like he got accosted on that shot.
Lonnie started for the hoop with no basketball, and it bounced on the line. And I'll tell you something, Hugh Hollins is not going to be too well appreciated by the Seattle fans for the last 8 or 10 minutes of calls. Bratz at the other end, 35 seconds to go in the quarter. George Gervin will work on Hanzlik. Donaldson batted it away, but unfortunately out of play, so it'll still be San Antonio's ball. San Antonio started hot. They were the scourge of the league, and all of a sudden they fell on hard times, and they really did not have the momentum you'd like a club to have coming into the playoffs.
No, their record since All-Star break was 500.
Bratz working the clock. They've got 2 less on the shot clock than they have on the quarter clock. So right now the shot clock's at 11, now 10. That's going to work it around. Goes to Gervin. Who else? 19-footer off the heel. Nope. Hanzlik. They've got 4 seconds. He's going to take it down and shoot it from half court. No. Missed it. An air ball as Billy brings it inside the timeline. Gets the shot off, but couldn't put it in the hoop. So the first quarter at the Kingdome of Game 1 between the Spurs and the Sonics has come to an end. And at the end of one, the Spurs lead 23-22. San Antonio got there for only 2 shots and made just 1. That's nice. Keep them away from the line. They're not going to get all the freebies on you. Mike Bratz to Mark Olberding, top of the key. He'll play a lot of minutes. Corzine is in now and handles the ball for the first time. Another of the Bruise brothers, as they call themselves. Olberding with 4 on the shot clock, off balance, off the glass, and in. And Stan Albeck pulling his hair out again, yelling at the officials, "My man got fouled." Now he's talking to the crowd or anybody that'll listen.
Well, the officials aren't going to listen, believe me.
Lonnie. Yep. Bounces through everybody's hands, and Bratz a little quicker than Lonnie gets there for the rebound.
San Antonio in with their version of the Winnebago wall. Corzine, Johnson, and Olberding.
This is Corzine. Fred Brown just takes it away from him. Dead flat steal. Corzine in his 4th year out of DePaul, averaging 10 points a game. Jack right of the foul line. Gonna just take it flat-footed. And missed it. Hanzlik tipped it up. Loose ball foul underneath, and Hanzlik may have finally gotten fouled. Now we'll see if they agree it was in the act of shooting. George Johnson got him for his 3rd personal foul. And nope, they didn't get him while he was shooting.
Billy, a very opportunistic offensive rebounder. Gets his 6'7" frame inside, gets his hands on a lot of free basketballs. Fred Brown scores on his first field goal.
25-24, Spurs by 1. Fred with 2 now. Bratz without more in there will be the team leader. Nice pass by Olberding to Corzine. Won't go, and Donaldson skies up for the rebound. Lonnie handling, goes to Hanzlik as Danny Brains takes his jacket off, and he'll come into the fray. Danny's got a pretty big bandage on his right elbow. Must have banged it somewhere down the line. And Olberding's going to be called for a foul against Lonnie Shelton.
Tough foul there. You usually like to pick your fouls up when there's some action going on, but Lonnie was just establishing position and, in fact, had just received the basketball, so he was going nowhere with his back to the basket.
Olberding goes out of the ball game now, and into the fray, Gene Banks, the rookie out of Duke at 6'8", 223, averaging also 10 points a game. Donaldson over Corzine. Nice play by James. 26-25. The Sonics on top. Now on defense. Mitchell. Mike Mitchell, a fine scorer, averaging 20.5 points a game. Comes down into a team that's just fitted for his style of play. I don't think he'd go on anywhere in the league, Mike Mitchell, and come into a better system for himself. Between he and Gervin, they'll take an awful lot of the shots, except for this three-pointer by Bratz, no good. Air ball, Jack gets it. Hit the glass, but it never hit the rim, and the Sonics come the other way.
Those are the toughest kind to rebound because you just don't know where they're coming from, and they surprise you sometimes, so you always have to have your hands up.
Yeah, you're waiting for it to go high in the air off the rim, and it never hits the rim. Now Bill Hanzlik mishandled the Jack Sikma bounce pass, and so the black-suited Spurs take it down. Lonnie active tonight, not angry or scowling, just instructions to his team. Mitchell, bad shot off the corner of the backboard, really even on the glass. Downtown, 19-footer, no, off the mark. Donaldson's there. What happened?
Well, they called it on James Donaldson, but his hands were pretty high the whole time.
Well, let's see if we have that one again.
At least it appeared as we looked late. Well, Eddie Rush is one of the best in the league, so I don't imagine he misses too many. Though he'll be the first to admit that he does on occasion miss one.
Why, you have to. Humans officiating a human game, as I always like to say, you're going to miss one. Gervin doesn't seem to miss. He gets it. He's got 14 points now in the first 11 minutes of this contest. George Gervin. Jack comes in, gets position across the middle, blocking out Mitchell. They go to Jack, could never get it to him. Near out of bounds, and it's saved by Danny Brains. And they say Brains went into backcourt. He was trying to avoid it, and yet he couldn't do it.
That's a good call right there. Danny had nowhere to go, really, and if he comes down, it's backcourt.
Yep.
If he passes to Bill, it's backcourt.
So San Antonio will throw it in. They do just that to Bratz. 29-26. San Antonio up by 3. Gervin missed. Jack Sikma with a rebound. To Fred Brown. With a screen from Jack. 19-footer by downtown.
San Antonio is shooting but 40%, so they're giving Seattle plenty of opportunities to break and get down and score, but Seattle, on the other hand, is only shooting 35%.
Mitchell works on Brains. It goes in. Hits the south and then the north lip of the rim and falls through. 31-28 now. 7:41 to go, halftime. Game 2 tomorrow night, right here at the Kingdome. Plenty of tickets available. Bring your whole family and see some action. Lenny says, Ed Rush, can't you see the foul? Three-pointer, Fred Brown, he's got it.
Bratz just took a running jump into that screen.
Just banged through it, and no call made. Mitchell. Corzine gets the rebound. One to go up. Hanzlik got a hold of the ball. Pass to Gervin. No play. Jack with the rebound. Outlet to Hanzlik, but he's 1-on-3. Fred Brown, 19-footer. Downtown is hot. The Sonics get 5 straight in 2 shots by Fred Brown. And I think San Antonio will go in the front court and call timeout. They do just that. So the Sonic fans get a little active as the Sonics pick up 5 consecutive points and 2 Fred Brown shots, a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer. And with 6:50 to go in the second quarter, it's the Sonics by 2.
Once he goes, then he rolls. Hey, if you don't have a shot, you might drop.
There's 6:50 remaining here in the second period. 33-31. Seattle has regained the lead. They're shooting in the second quarter 5 for 8, 63%. San Antonio cooled off just a little bit to 40%, 4 for 10.
And still the Spurs have only been to the foul line twice in the game to make 1. Sonics 6 out of 9. And with all the fouls called here in the second quarter, the Sonics have 1 team foul and the Spurs have 2. Personal fouls, Johnny Moore and George Johnson with 3. Nobody with 3 yet for the Sonics. Let's give it to downtown Fred Brown. See if he can make 40 tonight. He had one time at Golden State, 55, I think, didn't he, a few years back?
He has 2 personals.
It's a Sonic game high, I think. Believe it's a Sonic record.
Lonnie gets his second personal foul. Hands on hips, just saying, well, you called it. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not even going to discuss it with you. And that's Mike Mitchell at the line. Mitchell out of Auburn, his 4th year, 6'7", 215, averages 20 points a game. And he's got 11, looking for 12, and he's got that.
Awfully talented offensive player who has added a different dimension to his game in San Antonio, and he's playing very, very hard defensively for Stan Albeck.
Tied at 33. Donaldson on Corzine. 6-footer. Got it.
Well, Corzine doing the best he can to keep James from establishing position inside, so James just takes what he gives you.
James wanted to know first thing the other day practice if I'd seen that shot he made Sunday. Reigns. What was he? How far away was he? 14 feet?
14, 16, 15 feet, yeah.
Brown, Lonnie, nice pass. Foul, going to be blocking against Gene Banks of San Antonio.
Fred Brown works that 2-man game just like Gus does. Here it is with Lonnie Shelton. Lonnie breaks, goes to the hoop, and there's the block out by Eugene Banks.
Banks is saying to himself, how can I stand in front of Lonnie Shelton, right? And get a foul called.
He's a graduate from Duke University. I thought Duke was an academic institution. I wouldn't stand in front of Lonnie Shelton. And
Banks, if you can see now away from Lonnie, is rubbing his arm saying, ouch. Lonnie hits you. You've been hit. 37-33. Sonics on a good spurt. Let's see, 5-9 points out of the last 11 they've scored. 5:56 to go, second quarter. Tomorrow night, Kingdom, same 2 clubs. Come on out. Bratz.
That's what he offers the Spurs team, is just excellent perimeter shooting when Gervin is double teamed.
Danny Brains banging the hips and pushing around with Mike Mitchell and with Gene Banks. Here's Dan. Goes up with about a 9-footer, won't go. San Antonio with a rebound. Brains plays Banks. There's the 2 of them together. Danny slides across the guard. That's Corzine. Well, goaltending against James Donaldson. I guess you just have to watch the arc on that basketball and watch it closely. That's the toughest play to call, that in the charge.
Very, very tough.
You've got to be almost a scientist with some type of instrument to say, is that ball going up or is that ball coming down? Very difficult call. Donaldson, a little line drive will not go, but he gets fouled. And who hit him? I think it was Corzine. It was. The foul was on Dave Corzine, the DePaul 4th-year player. And John Johnson in for Danny Brains as James Donaldson goes to the line. Corzine's first team foul, or first personal foul, 4th team foul.
JJ was a key in that first game last Wednesday night against the Rockets. He came in and dished out 10 assists in that second half when Seattle was just moving the ball so well.
Left-handed offering of James Donaldson will not fall through the hoop. Sonics now are 8 out of 12 from the line. And here's Phil Smith in for Bill Hanzlik.
Taking advantage of the fact that Gervin goes to the bench.
Donaldson takes his time and studies and hits, and it's 38-37. This game is not as quick as you would expect these 2 clubs to be. There isn't quite as much running as you'd anticipated, I don't think, Jim.
I think you're right. We haven't seen George Gervin get his hand on the basketball as much as we normally see him do after the travel call in Seattle's ball.
Traveling called against Banks. It was announced as a personal foul, but it was traveling. Here's Lonnie. Couldn't get the shot off after he got fouled by Mike Mitchell.
When Lonnie Shelton squares you up and he's looking at the basket, He's just too tough to guard because he's so quick, and he's got the specter of having that jump shot in his hip pocket. He can go out to 20 feet and knock that one in.
Lonnie's been to the line twice tonight, made them both. He has 8, now 9.
Number 53, Olberding.
Olberding's back in now for Banks. As Stan Albeck moves him in, moves him out. Lonnie's perfect from the line, of the Sonics lead by 3. 40-37. 4:34 to go, first half. Olberding, 17-footer left side. James Donaldson takes it off the rim. To the delight of this shirt sleeve crowd of the Kingdom. They were a shirt sleeve crowd outside too. On a nice night. JJ. Downtown. 5 seconds on the clock. 3-pointer. In and out, would not go. I thought Fred had his second of the night. 1 for 2 in the game. Olberding racing like the midnight mail train and lays it in 40-39.
Talk about people you don't want to get in front of. That was one of them there. Number 53 was streaking to the hoop.
Mr. Muscle. 4 points now for Olberding. Here's Lonnie working on him. Oops. I think they're going to call it off. What was it?
It was an offensive foul on Lonnie Shelton.
Well, no, Eddie Rush hadn't called a thing.
Well,
never signaled the bench or anything. All right, Holland's going to call it from underneath. That's who I was looking at, was Rush, because I thought he blew the whistle. All right, Lonnie picks up his third. There it is.
I guess I just don't understand head and shoulders.
Well, the other foul looked exactly the same when Lonnie got the call. Just a few minutes ago, you put those 2 replays side by side. I'd mix them up. You couldn't tell me which was which. I don't know. You say it's a tough call. Cream. John Johnson doesn't get the bucket, but Jack gets the rebound. Sonics come down leading by 1. See what downtown can do. So Lonnie. Oh, what a smooth play.
You like that?
Right at the bucket and off the glass with that soft layup. He gets the bucket and gets fouled.
You asked what he could do. He just dishes very smartly to Lonnie Shelton. And I was just going to mention that with Lonnie having 3 fouls, it's very, very probable now with 3:11 left in the second quarter. He's got to be careful. Doesn't want to pick up that 4th foul.
Corzine gets his second personal foul as Lonnie goes to the line and makes it 43-39. Sonics by 4. Bounces away and Phil Smith ends up with it. They're doing something different to Jack Sikma on defense I want to ask you about too. John Johnson would not make it go. And back the other way with it is Eddie Raines, the South Alabama rookie, number 15. He'll play guard with Bratz. 9-footer by Mike. Air ball, but it comes out. Can they save it? They do. Cross court, Bratz 3-pointer. Not gonna go. Wally was in there, couldn't get the rebound. Smith has it. DT an 8-footer won't go, but Ed Rush made the foul call.
He just couldn't get or regain control after he'd been fouled pretty good. They swiped his hand off the ball, and he just couldn't get control back.
Sonics called timeout. They've got it on the board as the first personal against Ed Raines, and that's just what it is. So the Sonics lead 43-39. We've got 2:25 to go in the first half of the Kingdom. First game of this best of 7. Lonnie looks like he's the only man on the bench because everybody else had walked away for a second, but he's sitting down at the end of the bench resting. You were doing a lot of gyrations and signals here during the timeout. What were you doing?
Well, I was just signaling down to referee Hugh Hollins to shape up. No, I was just saying hello to a friend. Hugh Hollins is a friend. I've known Hugh for 10, 12 years from Los Angeles.
Well, that's nice. I just couldn't imagine who you were waving at. Here's Fred Brown.
A lot of friends here in this 18,000 seat house tonight.
How do you know there's 18,000? They haven't announced it yet.
I know. I just look around at the end and back up to 300 level. That's just a guesstimate.
6-point lead would be the Sonics' biggest of the night, and they've got it. Fred Brown's got it. It's 45-39, 2:22 to go in this first half.
Very important 2:19 It is, as Seattle has been able to forge ahead by 6.
Mitchell works the right side against JJ. Gets the shot off. Will not go. Corzine had an easy layup. Sonics are fortunate there. And they outlet it to Phil Smith. He comes down 2 on 5 till the Sonics catch up. Brown yells what he wants in the way of a play. Moves it right with Jack. You see the time. Smith tipped away. Nice play by Olberding as he bats it back to the X-Man. Mitchell. I mean, you even hint that you're going to get the ball, and it goes into the act of shooting. Knocked away by San Antonio. The Sonics will have it. I'll tell you, Mitchell and Gervin probably take more shots than any 2 other players in the league during the course of a year.
Unless you and I were on the team,
yeah,
then we would dominate.
I wouldn't shoot that much. I'm not that good. Fred Brown out. Gus Williams back in. Nice round of applause for Fred Brown. Now 1:30 to go. On the back, Jack to Gus. JJ looking for the foul line. Nope. Now Smith. Missed the 18-footer, and Bratz will take the rebound. 1:11 to go now in this first half. Corzine from the corner, about 2.5 feet short. Maybe it was a pass to Mitchell, but I doubt it. But Mitchell lays it in anyway. It served as that if it wasn't. 14 now for Mike Mitchell. Gus yells at Lenny, what? And Lenny yells back. Now Gus is ready to set it up. Jack. Nope, in and out, and all black shirts underneath. And 45-41. Corzine against Donaldson. Olberding looked like a charge. Oh, my. Jack took an elbow. And they give the foul to Jackson. Well, take another look at this one. Now watch Jack. Crunch. I don't know what to tell you. Olberding will go to the line. I think he's got to feel fortunate. They allowed the bucket in, also give him a foul shot. Jack gets a personal foul against himself. 3. And the Sonics lead is now 1, where it was 6 moments ago. Last 5 points in a row for San Antonio. 14 on the shot clock. 22 in the corner. Donaldson, 7-footer. No. Bratz has it. 12 seconds to go in the half.
James is taking his life in his hands, turning that to the middle as much as he's getting banged around.
3-pointer, Bratz. Donaldson, no time. It's all over for the first half as James came down with it. Well, a lot of calls to talk about. I don't say they're questionable because the NBA officials are certainly knowledgeable, but a lot of them to at least talk about among yourselves at halftime, and we'll probably do the same exact thing here. Supersonics at halftime, game 1 of this 7 against San Antonio. Sonics lead it by 1, 45-44.
Lenny and Stan are both upset with the fact that their teams that normally shoot around 48-49% shooting but 39-37% in this first half.
You know, you try to look for little trends, little matchups that aren't coming off, things that have happened. Not only was it in my mind, and I talk in generalities, but it was a quiet first half. The only spurt that really excited the crowd was Fred Brown with a 3-pointer followed by a 2-pointer. The two clubs aren't running as much as you would anticipate, so apparently what they're doing is anticipating the other club wants to run, and they're not letting anybody get out with that outlet pass.
Neither of the team's principals, Gus, George, Lonnie had an explosive first half, Jack Sikma, and even Mike Mitchell. Neither of the team's principals exploded in that first half like one would assume they would. But of course this is playoff action, and over the long pull of 48 minutes, I would expect all of those players to have a definite impact on the game.
Important game for the Sonics in this respect. If they lose it, well, they no longer have the home court advantage. See what I mean? So they don't want to lose the opening game, obviously. And a charging foul immediately on Johnny Moore of San Antonio, and he's got 4. Here's how it happened.
Jack Sikma sets himself very early, and there's Johnny Moore jumping into Jack, and that's Johnny Moore's 4th.
If the Sonics would lose, that means they'd have to win 4 out of the next 6 games, and 3 of those would be at San Antonio. So they lose the home court advantage if they lose this game. Now Ed Rush has got his whistle in his mouth again. Now what? 3 seconds? Who got the call against them?
Somebody in a white shirt.
Thanks a lot. I knew the second I said that you were going to say somebody for the Sonics. I like it. Olberding going to go to the left side. Stops, shoots, missed it. Gets the rebound. Nobody there as Wally had started the other way. Good bounce. Gus and Bill got Moore in the middle. Gus has to back out with it. He had no angle. 20-second timeout for the Sonics. Gus is down.
Well, George took a swipe at Gus in the basketball, and I think came up with a finger full of eyeball.
Ouch.
No, my mistake. He got hit in the knee.
Now we'll take a look and watch. So Gus is the reason for the 20-second timeout, which used to be an injury timeout, and sometimes you had to fake those. Now Gus is going to come over the bench, and I think they're going to take a full timeout. Or are they? Nope, he's just going to be replaced. Fred Brown will come in. Gus sits right in front of us, about 5 feet away.
Boy, I'd like to know where that happened.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Gus going to go to the locker room. I don't like it. All right, when we get another dead ball situation, we'll show you what happened. May have just pulled up and just pulled the muscle back there, so we'll see. Uh-oh, Fred Brown gives it away, and here comes San Antonio. Now Gus going to the locker room. We'll know in a moment as Mitchell hits the bucket. The Sonics will have to dig down a little bit now and play without Gus Williams at the moment with Fred Brown in there. Spurs by 1. Lonnie to the hoop. Passed out, but Moore got in the way.
Seattle a bit unorganized right now offensively.
Yes, they are. Mitchell. Mike Mitchell can do that to you. Mike Mitchell had 45 in one game this year. Don't count him out as a scorer. See what Nancy found out about Gus from Frank Furtado. I think Frank's going to go in the locker room in a second. 48-45. Jack Sikma, no. Got to partially block Gervin with it. Oof. 3 very fast, quick buckets by San Antonio. Lenny calls timeout as the Spurs get 6 straight points, and they jump up 50-45. Uh-oh. Well, Gus is in the locker room, and we'll show you that when we come back. At the moment, 10-17 to go third quarter. Spurs by 5.
Renault, who turbocharged Grand Prix racing and won, there is Fuego. Born of Renault Racing, Fuego. Turbocharged or fuel injected with 5 forward speeds, a slippery 0.35 drag coefficient, rack and pinion steering, front wheel drive, cockpit instrumentation. Fuego by Renault. Drive Fuego for under $8,500 at Renault and American Motors dealers everywhere.
Come on over, baby. A whole lot of shake is going on. We got a thick pan pizza, baby, you can't go wrong. Our super pan pizza's really gonna turn you on. Come on over. A whole lot of shake is going on.
Now get a free pitcher of pop with any family-sized pizza at Shakey's.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that play that sent Gus to the locker room for examination. Watch his right leg right now as he comes up a little bit limping. I wouldn't want to guess, but that looks an awful lot like something in the back part of your hamstring, or back part of your leg, and that's the hamstring.
You said he broke away there, maybe without warming up properly after the first half and went full speed. Maybe that was it. That could be, and we'll keep our eye on the locker room where Frank Furtado is with Gus Williams right now, as Jack will take a 21-footer and make it.
Well, when you're not properly warmed up, and sometimes, you know, you kind of like to ease into that second half of action with some, you know, something else to get the sweat going. And Jack gets 13 points.
Olberding to George Johnson. That's Gervin against Hanzlik. Oh my, what a move. Oh, he looked one way and went back to his right and hit it off the glass. Gervin with 18.
A difficulty of about 10 on that.
Out of the way, Mitchell. The Sonics are not in sync at the moment, but they throw this one away to San Antonio. Moore can't catch it, and the Sonics will take over.
Tough thing to do, leaving your feet inside with nothing to do. You kind of have to have your mind made up, and when you're in that position, it's pretty much a given fact that you might have to go to the basket.
Shelton to Jack. Jack can't quite get it. Mitchell had it and hangs on to it, and now he gives to Moore, and he heads down the west end of the Kingdom. Mitchell's hot. I'm telling you, the guy is deadly. We know how well he can shoot. He averages 20 a game. He's got 18. And the Sonics, right at the moment, have slipped 7 behind. The biggest San Antonio margin of the night. James Donaldson will be in shortly. Fred Brown having quite a battle with Moore as Shelton goes down the line. Tries to lay it up, gets fouled about 3 or 4 times. Kind of like running the gauntlet there as he goes through, and they finally pin the foul on George Johnson.
Johnson is fourth.
Very little room inside. Somehow Lonnie finds a path to the basket. There's the foul, his 4th on George Johnson.
Lost the ball, got it back. And now Wally will come out in favor of Donaldson coming in to play the center spot. So Jack and Lonnie will play the forwards.
Mike Mitchell gets most of his points inside. He's a very rugged player, though he has hit a couple of jumpers in the second half. Lonnie Shelton perhaps a little bit more suited to play and match up pound for pound with Mitchell.
Lonnie 6 for 6 from the line tonight. Now the Sonics back within 5. Gervin. No. Donaldson with a big rebound. Came down on top of Jack Sikma. Jack looked around and said, hey, it's me.
Without Gus in the game, of course, the half-court offense becomes much more important as there are fewer breaks.
Well, there weren't that many in the first half. Lonnie. No goaltending there. Why not? Why not? Now that was not a good call. Gee whiz, there was goaltending called against Donaldson in the first half, but none called there. Thrown away. Brown reached down on the floor and picked it up. And Lenny says, slow it down, Fred, as they look at both officials on goaltending, but it was Hugh Holland's call. He was the outside man on the goaltending. Fred Brown, 9-footer, gets it back twice. Yeah, Fred gets 2 9-footers, he's going to make 1 of 2, right? And if he gets his own rebound, it has to be the second one he makes. 54-51 now. Sonics with 4 straight points.
Seattle really has to buckle down at this defensive end.
Mitchell.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter who's guarding it.
I think that's what 4 straight here in the second half without a miss from Mike Mitchell.
You really got to get up and crowd him and bump him and get him off his rhythm by that method.
The young man was playing for Cleveland. When they called him in and said, you've been traded, he said, I wanted him to say anywhere. Donaldson. Oh, James held it down too long. James Donaldson had the ball, tried to do the right thing, but if he'd have gone back up with it, he'd have had a clean shot. He tried to move a foot or 2 closer. Couldn't do it, and they knock it out of his hands, and it'll still be Sonic ball. Wide open half court now. Brown yells and Hanzlik give the ball as the line goes from chorus line, the musical. Now whistle underneath. They say stay here, so it's on the Spurs. It's on George Gervin, number 44. That's his first. And Fred Brown will bring it in. Second team foul in this 3rd quarter. Donaldson. Now there's goaltending. Has to be, right? All right. 7 for James Donaldson now.
Surprising to get the ball from an inbounds pass in that deep off of just 1 pass. He got it there, and he knows what to do with it there.
56-53, San Antonio leading by 3. Gervin, Lonnie pinned it against the backboard. They get it out. Olberding will take the shot, and he hits.
Olberding.
You know, Sonics had a lot of time, and they steal it. Fred Brown went for it. Olberding got in his face. Here's Mitchell. Well, Lenny says, I want timeout.
You have to be careful in that open court, especially without Gus. And right there, the pass wasn't there.
So the Spurs jump ahead by 7 points to match their biggest lead of the night. Lenny's not happy with the officiating in the moment. The crowd's not happy with it either. San Antonio's loving every minute of this.
From the sky blue The beer's really rolling. So's great tasting Hanz. It's one of the fastest growing beers around. And for you light beer drinkers, there's Hanz Special Light.
Hanz the beer refreshing. Hanz the beer refreshing. Hanz.
In the good old days of cartooning weathermen, a cold front looked like this. Well, there's a cold front this week at QFC, our frozen food sale. Stouffer's, Treetop, Bird's Eye, and Pepperidge Farms are all on sale, to name a few. Plus Swanson Hungry Man turkey or chicken pies for 89 cents. Totino's assorted party pizzas, 99 cents. Tree Sweet Orange Juice, 85 cents. And Eggo waffles, 98 cents. From the store that knows its groceries, QFC.
Thursday at 9, Simon & Simon are hired to track down the missing daughter of a San Diego newscaster. Followed at 10 by Knott's Landing. A suspicious Val confronts Abby head-on in an attempt to save her marriage. It all begins Thursday at 9 here on KIRO TV.
Locker room reports that Gus Williams has a cramp in his
72% for San Antonio, 33 for the Supersonics in this third quarter. Lonnie fall away 14-footer. He gets it. 60 to 55. Hanzlik goes down in a heap. The foul is on Gervin.
Foul is on Gervin.
He just pushed Billy Hanzlik to the deck.
Second personal foul on Gervin. Third team foul. And the hands, what was it, a deliberate foul then?
Right.
Goes to the deck. And now goes to the line. And here comes Gus back from the locker room.
Certainly good to hear that that is not any cold, just a cramp.
Four-point spread. Olberding shoots and hits. San Antonio red hot. Around 75% of this third quarter. They've come out hot. 5:55 to go. Third quarter. 62-56. Spurs by 6. They once led by 7. James. Great pass from Brown. James' second try. Should have been goaltending, possibly again. That one they have to look at. No call made. Olberding 17 feet away, and he hits. They're around 80% now.
Well, Lenny is telling the officials that James was dropping it down into the hoop from his height at about 11 feet. And then it has to be goaltending.
Yeah, if you're at the, what is that called, the fulcrum of the angle?
Apex.
Apex. Oh, yeah? I thought fulcrum sounded really good to me. What'd you take, geometry, you smart aleck? Gervin, oh, red hot. San Antonio's up by 10. The Sonics have got to get some luck on a bouncing ball away from San Antonio.
Yeah, what they have to do is get the ball inside.
Downtown, missed it. And nothing but black shirts under there. 4 Spurs rebounding and not a Sonic in sight. A low point in this game at the moment for the Supersonics. 11 out of 14 for San Antonio. Make it 11 out of 15. That's well up near 80% in this quarter.
They need to settle down and get a good thrust at the basket. Run something smartly.
Hanzlik a 2-pointer, and again, all San Antonio underneath. Well, more. Olberding trying for the bucket and then going to it, and he gets fouled on the way in. Hugh Hollins makes the call on Lonnie Shelton. Here's Corzine for George Johnson. That's the 4th foul on Lonnie. And Corzine gets Johnson gets welcomed to the bench, and San Antonio is going to call a timeout. 4:07. Jimmy, the matchups. Let's talk about this. San Antonio, of course, red hot at the moment. That's the reason for part of the lead. But the Sonics look to have been taken out of their gameplay right now, out of their plan, maybe.
I wonder if the fact that Gus went to the locker room had any effect on the psyche of the team. In other words, there's your star, the guy that you look to give some real wide open play to. You know, in the back of their minds, I wonder how Gus is. I wonder what's happening inside. That's just a thought. But right now, take nothing away from the San Antonio Spurs and the fact that they're just blistering the nets. And that's coming from Mitchell. It's coming from Olberding, as well as George Gervin, whom you would expect to blister the nets.
Yep. 66-56, 4:07 to go, third quarter. The second game tomorrow night right here at the Kingdom. And I've got something here on tickets that was handed to me before the game, if you can find it for me, gentlemen. We had it here a few minutes ago. Yeah, why don't you read that, Jimmy, if you don't mind.
Well, tomorrow night, the Sonics and Spurs, of course, will meet back here in the Kingdom at 7:30 for the second game of this series. Tickets will be on sale tomorrow at the Kingdom Ticket Sales Office at the northwest corner of the Kingdom. All sales will be on a cash basis. No checks or credit cards will be accepted. You may purchase as many tickets as you like. They will be, that is, the tickets will be on sale at Fidelity Lane ticket outlets downtown and their usual suburban outlets. You may also purchase your tickets by phone and charge them to your MasterCard or Visa Operators will be on duty tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon. That's 628-8430.
4 for 15 for the Sonics in this quarter, 26%. San Antonio, 11 out of 15, 73%. Now that's as plain as you can say it. The Sonics are down by 10, maybe more, as Mark Olberding goes to the line. He shoots them up at 80%.
Many of those 11 field goals that San Antonio has scored here this quarter have been on the break, so they certainly have gotten their fast break into motion.
Well, 68-56, a 12-point lead by San Antonio, far and away the biggest lead of the night. Brown to Donaldson. Outside the Lonnie. Just doesn't look right under there. Hanzlik in the high post, basically. Tried to pass to James, batted away. Bill got it back. And the 24-second clock expires without the Sonics getting it to the hoop. And San Antonio has changed something in this quarter, and they've also changed something without Gus in there. Gus is going to come back in now.
Very disorganized offensively right now for the white-clad Sonics.
Corzine. Moore. Olberding. Off the heel, Eddie Rush calls something underneath, and it could be on the Sonics. And here's Gus back in. So Fred Brown, his first personal, and Hanzlik comes to the bench for Gus Williams. We'll see how Gus looks to us. Left leg cramp is the reason he was out.
Mark Olberding really going to the basket this quarter. Hits it anywhere, and then it was with his back to the basket and had no hesitation whatsoever on taking it to the hoop.
Olberding makes the foul shot. He's got himself 16 now 17. 70-56, 14-point Sonic deficit. You lose game one, you just give away that home court advantage. Lonnie, nice move off Jack's pass, and he can't get the hoop, but he gets fouled underneath. Was it Olberding?
That was on Corzine. Dave Corzine picked up Lonnie Shelton on the switch as Lonnie was making a cut from the weak side.
Try it again, we're both wrong. It's on Mike Mitchell.
Mitchell. But that was Corzine that switched off.
Shelton misses it off the front of the hoop, and what can go wrong for the Sonics is going wrong.
Fouls on Mitchell.
Wait a minute now. 53, we're going to be back to Olberding, I think.
Foul was on Olberding.
Yeah, I was right the first time. We changed it to Corzine, we changed it to Mitchell because the board did, and we're back to Olberding. So put the foul on him, and it's his third of the game. And Lonnie, who had been perfect from the line, misses one and makes one. It's 70-57.
Well, with 3 minutes left in this third quarter, Seattle has to get it down under 10.
Olberding misses. Donaldson with the rebound. Comes to the Wizards. See how he's feeling. Looks like he's running fairly smooth. You hope so. To the hoop. Nope. Fred Brown, two-pointer. Nope. Donaldson and Lonnie fight for the rebound. They both lose it. Two teammates battle it out of bounds, and San Antonio takes it over. Sonics have been to the line 24 times tonight. San Antonio only 9.
So you can tell by that they're out field goaling Seattle by a wide margin.
Here's a guy that's had most of it, Gervin. Here's a guy that's had the rest, Olberding. Oh, beautiful rejection by Donaldson. But San Antonio gets it back. Mitchell tried it, missed it, and it's made by Corzine. They're getting the second and third effort underneath, and now they've got a 15-point lead.
Told you, Dave Corzine is no slouch. He's coming off the bench, and he's a reserve, but he is awfully tough.
Bill Scott, the beer man, goes by, hawking his wares in back of it. Sonics need him to lead a cheer right about now. Gus. The 24-second clock expired, but it was after the shot had gone. That would have counted by Gus had it gone in. And Phil Smith will see some action now as the Sonics are flat. 12 points is all they have in this quarter. Here's Moore.
Well, it's caught fire. All the Spurs are hot now.
They are. Moore with only 4 points, but those two put the Sonics 17 down. Downtown. Misses a little two-footer. Here's Moore trying to race away from Lonnie. Ball's down. Gus after him. Mitchell. Oh, the reverse. The Sonics are down by 19. This crowd is stunned. They wanted the Sonics to come into this ball game and just run San Antonio out of here the very first game and show them what's what. And instead, a crowd of only 14,457 are not seeing one of the Sonics' best efforts in this quarter. Looks like Olberding finally fouled Jack Sikma. Foul on Marcus is third, and Jack, with now the Spurs with 5 team fouls, will go to the line. Playoff game, 14,457. I'm mystified by that. I guess the fans are waiting to see what's going to happen. They have to spend their money wisely in these tough times, and I guess they're waiting to see if they can watch the 5th or 7th game back here, if they turn about.
The other thing that this quarter does to a team's mentality is you would hope from Lenny Wilkins' standpoint that it stops tonight. In other words, it doesn't carry over through the rest of the series.
Olberding out, Banks in for San Antonio. Jack gets a pair. He's got himself 15 points. The Sonics are back within 17. This third quarter has been a disaster. 32 points for the Spurs, 14 for the Sonics. Banks off the bench in. Jack with the rebound. Jack did a little shoving that was undetected. Phil Smith saves it, but can't get a shot off. Out to Gus. Hugh Holland saw somebody do something to somebody. It might have been Mike Mitchell. Foul is on Mike Mitchell for doing some holding, his second personal foul, and Jack Sikma will go to the line. They got crossed. They had a little mixed match, and Mitchell had to hold Jack. He couldn't do much else with him.
Jack has 15 points. When you talk about quiet points, I think his 15 points are quiet points. Many from the free throw line.
He and Fred Brown, the leading foul shooters on the club this year at 86%. Fred, I think, a tick ahead of Jack, percentage points.
Nobody's really gotten involved in the Sonic offense this quarter, but your standouts, your Jack Sikmas, your Lonnie Sheltons, when Gus went to the bench and to the locker room, need to get the basketball. Seattle was not successful in getting the ball in the hands of those players who can do the damage.
31 seconds to go in this third quarter. The Spurs leading 76-61. This crowd's starting to get into the game a little bit. They're kind of sitting on their hands and sitting on their vocal cords, if you like, for this first 3 quarters. See if they get into it now and try and help the Sonics. Gervin, that high arch shot, you can't stop it. George Gervin with 22 after 3 periods and 7 seconds left for the Soups in this quarter. Gus going to race to the corner, goes up with a 19-footer off balance, and that'll do it. So after 3 quarters of the Kingdom, disaster has fallen on top of the Sonics as the Spurs get 34 points in offense in that quarter, and they've got the Sonics down 78-61.
You know, there are some nights when everybody in the Kingdom is coaching the Sonics. 20,000 fans all telling me what to do. That's why I come with a game plan and try to stick to it.
Come on, let's
go. Play some D.
Same thing goes for your future. A great way of doing it is to have an IRA account at People's Bank.
People's has been helping me for 14 years. And that's the kind of help I really need.
People first, bankers second. People's Bank.
Ford delivers. Okay. You know Ford's doing it right. Their new program helps you buy a car, and then they stay with you. You can get hundreds in cash right now, 100% from Ford. And then they keep you going with Ford Care. For 2 years, about all you pay for is gas. On Granada, Fairmont, Mustang, Escort, and EXP. It's the closest thing to cost-free driving.
At your Northwest Ford dealers, your front-wheel drive headquarters.
Top this hand, Tex.
Whoa! Got a pair of Monroes on sale.
Monroe shock absorbers?
On sale? Monroe's top shocks. Radialmatic and Monroe Magnum 60s. Buy one, get the second half price. You can't top a Monroe deal.
And it's all happening right now during the Monroe Top Shock sale at Walt's Radiator and Muffler. Buy one and get one half price. 15 locations to serve you. Olympia to Everett.
Dave Corzine back in the ball game for San Antonio. Danny Raines comes into play some forward now for the Sonics, and so does John Johnson as Lonnie will try a different combination of forwards. He'll go with Smith and Gus at the guards. 34-15. San Antonio outscored the Sonics in the third quarter. Jimmy, what has to happen?
Well, Seattle has to get back together offensively. And as things go, they snowball on you. And when they were ineffective offensively, then they gave it up at the defensive end also.
Moore to Gervin, 21-footer, let's fly. Gus gets the rebound. They head the other way. They got a 3-on-3. Gus, great move to the hoop. Couldn't get there with a basketball, but gets fouled on the way. Gervin stepped in front of him, blocked him out.
Gervin, his third. First team foul.
Even though he's back in, Gus didn't look to be the explosive number one that we've come used to.
Seems like he's hurting a little bit. Gervin's third personal foul. Gus at the line in the act of shooting. And he hits it. 6 points for Gus Williams. (78-63), 15-point San Antonio lead. 14,457 here at the Kingdome tonight. They didn't even match the yearly average for tonight's game. I'm really surprised at that. Great pass, Corzine to George Gervin. You just can't let Gervin get the basketball that low. 24 points.
You don't have to limit it to low.
Well,
he can get it out high and hurt you.
Anywhere in half court, right? JJ moving on Mitchell. Something underneath if we get a holding call.
Banks.
Yep.
Trying to take that position away from Fraines as he had a good position inside and Gus was trying to get the ball to him.
Banks second, personal and second team foul on the Spurs in the fourth quarter. Gus. Nice 17-footer from the baseline right. He's got 9 if he warms up. And Jack gets a few hoops. We can get back into this one with the Sonics. 80-65 Spurs at the moment.
Well, they have to go back to playing good, solid defense after a horrendous third quarter.
Gervin had no idea in midair what he was going to do with the ball, Jimmy, and he ended up shooting it. And the end result got 2 points. Batted away by Corzine to Gus. Counter to JJ. 2-pointer. No. Gus tried to get the rebound. Loose ball foul called. I think it's going to be on Moore. It is. That's 5 on Moore, so Mike Bratz will come in to replace him. There's Stan Albeck, San Antonio coach. Take another look.
Gus up high on that offensive board, and Johnny just nipped a little bit of his arm.
Dan Brains to the hoop. Phil Smith looked at one. Nope. Jack. Corzine in his way. Jack off the glass. Missed it. Tipped by Brains. No basket. No basket. Offensive goaltending called. Hugh Hollins called it from half court. Watch it.
Well, let's see if the ball was off.
It was off.
Call.
They just saw it on the Kingdome screen, and it was not a good call.
Sorry, Hugh.
Seems like we're leaning on Hugh Hollins tonight, but maybe we're seeing some things that he didn't. Mitchell. over the top of the backboard. It'll be Sonic basketball.
We'll watch this replay again. If the player touches the ball while it is over or on the rim, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the rim, but over the rim. In other words, there's an invisible cylinder that goes up from the rim up to, 8 feet, 10 feet above the rim. It's over that, it's goaltending.
And that was definitely away by 4 or 5 inches from the rim when Danny tipped it in.
Well, in his defense, he had a bad angle on it.
Yes, he did have. You're right. He's at half court. Boy, this is slop time now. And Smith's going to get it back, shoot it up, and make it.
Well, only the best officials work these playoffs, and both Hollins and Eddie Rush are considered to be among the finest in the league.
82-67. Gervin under the hoop. Tried to go up, gets fouled, and I'm afraid Phil Smith was the man. Yeah. Foul is on Phil Smith.
Foul is on Banks.
He creates paths to the basket that just don't seem possible. George Gervin, what a smooth player.
George Tolles looking at the wrong roster. Called the foul on Banks, the wrong number 20, but I've done that during the year when you look down quickly at your rosters to see number 20. That's Gervin at the line. George, averaging 32 points a year, shoots 86% from the line, the same as Fred Brown and Jack Sikma, and he as well is the leader on the San Antonio team at that line. Makes 1 out of 2, 83-67, a 16-point lead for San Antonio, and the Sonic faithful here are wondering what's going on. JJ to Jack. Started to move. Corzine held him down. Jack gets the bucket. I don't know if it'll count or not. It may. Yep. The foul was on Corzine, and Jack does get credit for the bucket. And for the first time of the night, Roger Fegley checks into the game. The Bradley 4-year veteran for George Gervin as Jack gets 19.
A difficult shot indeed, as Jack was harassed the whole way. But as only he can, he got Corzine to jump in a staccato motion with him. Got the ball up.
1 shot at the line for Jack. The Sonics pull within 13 on this one. Certainly not out of it.
Well, they're going to have to reverse a trend at the defensive end. That is San Antonio's offensive end. It's been going on now for over a quarter, and that is just some excellent shooting.
Jack with 20. 8:41 to go in this affair. Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll be Sonic ball.
That's the way to do it, as they apply some full court pressure. And San Antonio wilts that time.
Now the crowd gets into it, and Hanzlik and Gus will bring it in. Gus signals what he wants. JJ will play the point on the right side. The pass to Gus. They didn't get it. Hanzlik's there, fakes once, twice, lays it up. Jack tips. Jack tips. Can't get it. Jack's got it. Bill's got it. Who's got it? Bill's got it. Goes up, gets fouled. What's the call? San Antonio swears they were on the ball, but I don't think Eddie Rush saw it that way. Timeout, San Antonio. The foul is on Gene Banks. We'll see if we can get that on the break to take another look at that play under the bucket. And we'll show it to you. 83-70, the Spurs leading by 13.
I'm your gardener here at Olympia Brewery. You know that artesian brewing water that makes Olympia beer taste so good? Well, it hasn't hurt my begonias either. Of course, some folks don't believe in artesians, but I do. I've talked to them. I like them. I like everything about them, except their sense of humor.
Look for this sign. It means savings right now. Look for the cars that give you more. The 82 Oldsmobile. More front-wheel drive Oldsmobile safety. More Oldsmobile room and comfort. More gas economy without giving up style. The all-new 82 front-wheel drive Cutlass Sierra. Available now at participating Puget Sound Olds dealers. Why settle for less? Get it all in an 82 Oldsmobile. Front-wheel drive with more safety, room, comfort, and economy. Look for this sign.
Watch this action under the bucket now. You won't believe what goes on here. Gus.
Billy gets good purchase on the basketball, comes up short. Jack just battles, as he does so often, in fact all the time. Billy Hanzlik again coming up with a loose ball, taking it to the hoop, and Eugene Banks picking up his third.
There are about 9 fouls under there, and Banks finally got spotted for one, his third foul, and the Hams will go to the line.
Seattle continues to shoot woefully, 33% this quarter. San Antonio, those cooled off a little bit. They're 2 for 4, 50%.
Bill Hanzlik brings the Sonics back to within 12, 83-71 with plenty of time left, 8:21. Hands' first 2 points of the night. And 1 foul shot in the third quarter, 1 here, and now he's going for his third point, all from the line, and he's got it. 83-72. Sonics within 11, full court pressure. Bratz with it. Looks up to Corzine, doesn't use him yet. JJ and Gus had him double team. They go to Fegley, double team. Throws it away. Sonic basketball.
Well, they've gone to that full court press twice and have yielded a turnover twice. So I would expect they will keep up after.
And the referees missed a call. The Sonics threw it into front court, threw it into back court. And a foul is called against the Sonics on Hanzlik, but they missed an over and back on the original throw-in.
Boy, Billy Hanzlik took a good shot setting that pick there. Whew. But if you're in motion while setting that pick, you're fair game, and the call's going to go against you.
San Antonio with it. Olberding. Into Jack Sikma, had to be charging.
Well, right now, San Antonio giving Seattle every break as Olberding picks up his 5th foul.
And Olberding's hurt. He sprained his right ankle. Olberding's hurt, and Mitchell's going to come in for it. So Mark Olberding, as Gus Williams did earlier, is going to go to the bench injured. And we'll watch that injury as John Anderson, the former Seattle Sounder trainer, will take a look.
Jack again in good position on the driving Mark Olberding.
Sonic Rooters stamping their feet, clapping their hands. They're down by 11. JJ can cut it to 9. Bill Hanzlik could do the same. No, won't go. Brains punched it out, but he couldn't get it to a white shirt. Danny goes down and plays defense. And Moore goes to half court with it. 7:29 to go. Hanzlik takes it away. So Gus. And he watched Moore.
He wanted him. He was draw foul.
He wanted the foul from Moore, and he didn't get it, but he watched him the whole time. Now 83-74. The Sonics coming back. They were down by a ton. What, 17 at one time, 19. Now they're back to within 9. Foul on the Sonics under the bucket. Take your choice under there. It looked like it could have been John Johnson. It was John.
That's just some great play by Billy Hanzlik and hustling after that loose ball. Watch Gus kind of tease more like, come on now, I want your 6th.
Foul call goes against the Sonics again. Caught that one. Danny Brains, yeah, that's his first personal in the game. That's the 3rd team foul of the Sonics. San Antonio already over the limit in this quarter. The Sonics need that basketball, down by 9, 83-74.
Now San Antonio gets in the hands of their star.
Gervin shoots, traveling. No bucket.
JJ over there to double team caused George Gervin to travel. And now Seattle playing with a frenzy.
They got to get caught up. Lonnie Shelton will be back soon. JJ, the line drive doesn't get there. He's going to get another try. Up, gives it to Gus. Foul called inside. Head rush spotted somebody in San Antonio. It's on Mike Morrow Mitchell. Mitchell's 3rd personal foul. And that sends somebody to the line because the Spurs were over the limit. It'll be JJ. John shot them from the foul line at 75%, 3 out of 4 during the year.
Excellent free throw shooter. And right now, the Sonic on the spot as he's been in the right spot a couple of times in the last minute or so, both defensively as well as offensively right there.
83-75 as the Sonics are within 8 again. Haven't seen Olberding stir off the bench since he sprained an ankle. Now the the Sonics within 7. Watch the pressure. Corzine left side. Banks, no. Jack with a big rebound. Uh-oh. Jack swinging a lot of elbow, but getting on top of him before he did. I think Banks got the call against him. That's what it was. Gene Banks was hanging on him. Watch again.
Right now, things are not going well for the Spurs. And this 14,000 sounds like 24,000.
Well, John Barry, let's take one more look at that one. I'll tell you, I think San Antonio got the worst of that one. What did Banks do to Jack that Jack wasn't doing to Banks? We'll let Jack shoot one and then show it to you again. I just want to look at it. The scarred face of Jack Sikma. He's got a couple of knuckle marks up there already. Now take a look again, Jimmy.
Well, here goes a shot by Eugene Banks.
Banks had his hands in the air the whole time, and Jack getting the rebound hit him.
Well, I guess it all evens out over the course of a 48-minute game.
Sikma with a pair. The Sonics within 5. San Antonio calls timeout. 14,457 on their feet. Make it 58 as Jim Marsh just stood up. 83-78. We'll be back.
Who's got crab legs? Who's got crab legs? Who's got crab legs? We've got crab legs.
See Galley.
We've got crab legs. We've got crab legs.
See Galley.
We've got snow, snow, snow. King, king, king. Dungeness too. It's your crab legs.
See Galley.
It's your crab legs.
See Galley.
We've got crab legs. So come get your crab legs.
Bedroom Emporium has been offering you the finest quality bedroom furnishings and waterbeds at the lowest possible prices. However, this is the most spectacular offer they have ever made. A queen-size waterbed, completely finished, for only $199, including a bookcase headboard, mattress, liner, a deluxe heater, plus a 6-door pedestal and a $29.95 mattress pad. It's the buy of a lifetime for $199 at Bedroom Emporium, Parkway Plaza South Center, James Village, Linwood, Bellevue, and Bremerton.
6:11 remaining in the game. Seattle is closed to within 5 at 83-78. San Antonio has not scored a field goal in 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Courtesy of Howard Bogey, who keeps us informed.
Also courtesy of that full court pressure Seattle began to apply moments ago.
Good point.
I'm a little bit surprised at the ease with which Seattle was able to unravel a very poised and veteran-laden San Antonio Spur team.
Apparently the crowd of the Sonics thought at first that there was martial law declared at this game and they weren't allowed to cheer for the first 3 quarters. Now they're doing it and they're helping the Sonics. Gus and Moore go to the deck. No call. Jumper by San Antonio, and this Jack's got the rebound and the Sonics go the other way. 5 behind. Gus to JJ. Wanted the shot, looked away from it. Gus wide open. 83-80. The Sonics have come back 16 points and they have 3 to go. This would demoralize San Antonio tremendously to lose a ball game like this.
And now San Antonio is the one that's sort of standing around offensively.
Defensive foul on the Soups. Maybe Hanzlik got the call against him. That's on JJ. His second personal foul, only the 4th personal foul. Team foul with it. So San Antonio brings it in with it and shoots it. Sonics need one more errant bucket and a field goal and a foul at the other end to tie it up. Still plenty of time, 5-13. San Antonio hits one. Boy, they had a long dry spell, didn't they?
Over 5 minutes.
So they get a bucket and they can't lead by 5. But the Sonics have got San Antonio right where they want them.
Well, I'm certain it's... Oh, my, what a pass that was for Jack Sikma. I didn't know where he was going. Somewhere Gus materialized, and he now has 15 points.
10 of the second half.
Woo!
Mitchell getting overplayed by JJ beautifully. Corzine, Moore. Moore hits one from the side, a low percentage shot you don't figure he'll get, and it's still 5 San Antonio. Gus 6 feet away. The Wizard has awakened.
Oh my goodness, Johnny Moore hits, and very quickly Gus Williams answers at the other end.
Corzine stranded. Moore same spot, same shot, different result. Lonnie over the head. Maybe he'll get Moore to foul him this time. Nice play by Johnny Moore. He steals it from Gus. Just an outstanding play. And now what? Gus fouled him on the comeback?
Nope. Johnny Moore dribbled the ball out of bounds.
That's what it was.
Gus was hoping to draw a foul, and I think he just lost the ball. I don't know if Johnny Moore ever made any contact with him.
We'll see it here.
No.
He did. Moore, oh! Did he ever step out? Let's run that right back.
Looked like it.
Oh, we'll get
I don't know.
I'd like to see that one again. I don't know if he stepped on the line. Anyway, the Sonics have the ball. Down by 3. Sounds like we're hard on the officials tonight. We don't mean to be. I'm just going to tell you what we see and what we feel that's been called. And Jack goes sky high to get a basketball, and now a foul's called. Which way is it going to go?
Well,
he's on Corzine.
That'll send Jack Sikma to the line with a chance to incredibly bring Seattle back to within 1. Tell me they're not going after loose balls.
Corzine into Jack, and Jack will go to the line. Let me check with John and our crew. Do we happen to have that play that Moore stole the ball, or actually it slipped away and he stepped out of bounds? Okay, thank you. We're going to look for it. Here's Jack Sikma. Scowls at that bucket like, you better accept this basketball I'm going to throw up there. Now watch Moore's foot. We'll run it slow if we can slow it down. Watch this. He never stepped. Well, see, his toe was in and his heel swung out over the line.
That's a close call.
That is a close call, I'll tell you. Jack is 13 out of 13 from the line. And this would make 14 straight. And see, we didn't jinx him. And the Sonics are within 1.
And they're putting full court pressure on again.
Sonics, what a comeback, and what a demoralizing loss they can pin on San Antonio if they lose here. Mitchell from the corner. It goes. Nice shot by Mike Mitchell.
Boy, what a great player he is. He's just lined up a couple of jump shots, and big jump shots they've been. He now has 28 points.
89, 86, 3:17 to go. The Soups can't let down now. They've come so far back. They want to pin this one in. J.J. Lonnie. Lost it out of his hands. Tough play, John. A very difficult pass through traffic to Lonnie, and Lonnie just never could hold on to it.
It appeared that Lonnie had a good jump at it anyway.
Gus working on Moore. Moore smacks his hand away, so get away from me.
San Antonio working very deliberately right now.
Nice pass to Mitchell. J.J. on the ball, but he got a foul called on him. And that'll send San Antonio to the line.
San Antonio worked very hard at getting the ball into Mike Mitchell. J.J. was fronting him in most of those situations, and then they just lobbed the ball up and over as they were rotating.
You know, he didn't get it with his hands. He got it with his body. So I think where the foul was called. First foul shot is good. 29 for Mike Mitchell, who averages 20. Now he's got 30, and the Sonics have slipped behind by 5. Still 2:44 remaining. First game, best of 7. For those of you watching basketball for the first time, that means the first team that wins 4 has the advantage of the series, and they win it. JJ can't get it in. Hanzlik, great play. It goes, and it gets fouled. Phil Hanzlik with a key bucket, his first of the night.
We've said many times, he picks his places well, but when he gets inside, he's a better than even chance at getting offensive rebounds. Such a strong player with strong hands.
Is that hard-nosed play? Mike Mitchell picks up his 4th personal foul, and Bill can make it a 3-point play. Put the Sonics behind by only 2. Did he do all of that? Yes. 2:29 remaining. Now remember, the Sonics got the 16 points in the 3rd quarter, and we're down by 19. Now they're down by 2. missing D and a hoop to tie it. Gervin. No basket, no basket. Foul, though, underneath on defense. Lenny being acrobatic in front of the bench, trying to talk Ed Rush out of whatever call he made. The foul is on Bill Hanzlik, his second, and that sends the Iceman to the line.
Well, San Antonio's gotten the ball in the hands of Mike Mitchell the last few times, and he's responded. And now they're getting the ball to George Gervin and really clearing out an area, and that really puts pressure on Billy Hanzlik, who only has 2 fouls. In many of the games, in the 5 games that these two teams have played, Billy has found himself strapped with early foul trouble.
Gervin and Mitchell between them with 59 points now, and the Spurs lead again by 4, 93-89. Sonics have to really just protect that basketball. They need hoops each time down. They can't afford not to get one. Jack gets it.
Well, both teams really are answering the challenge at both ends with big hoops.
How about a 4-time overtime? You ready for another one of those? I feel overtime. Jumper, no good. Prozine had it. 3 men on him. Traveling should have been called. Jack gets the basketball. Gus at half court. The Wizard to Lonnie. It's tied up. 93 for everybody, and timeout San Antonio.
Woo! Believe me, Gus manufactured that basket.
No timeout. I saw Olberding signal that they didn't see him, and Morris got the ball. Sonic bench standing. Olberding, no bucket. Sonics have it. 1:18 to go. Now a timeout. Listen to this crowd. Just listen. Watch Gus's pass to Lonnie Shelton underneath.
Gus made this basket where it seemed impossible. At the last second, dishing off to Lonnie Shelton, who very smartly kept going to the basket, even though Gus was on his way there.
Every team in this game has got 93 points and 1:17 to go. You like overtime? Or do you like Sonics win or San Antonio? What a comeback either way.
Well, most certainly, old momentum is on the side of the Sonics right now. 19 points to come back, and they came back very quickly via the full court zone pressure, and also some, it's just, hey, San Antonio just cooled off. You don't expect them to maintain that 75% clip for a whole half. That'd be some incredible shooting, but also credit the Sonic defense that picked it up just a little bit there in that 4th quarter.
Depression suited up, of course, for the Supersonics when Gus went to the locker room with an injury. And then general confusion set in. And then, of course, momentum is suited up for the Sonics. Did you see that head a moment ago? Where was that shot? Who was that in that crowd a minute ago?
Lenny Wilkins.
No. Shot of the bald headed gentleman. It's not Slick Watts. See, fooled you. It's another gentleman. It could be Isaac Hayes. Yeah, we'll find out. Probably never, unless we get a letter from that gentleman saying, quit shooting the back of my head. 93, 1:17 to go.
Several places Seattle can turn to here. They can go to Jack Sikma, who's scored a couple of big fielders in the last couple of minutes. Lonnie Shelton, or of course Gus Williams. I would expect with 21 seconds on the shot clock that Seattle will get an awfully good shot and use up a lot of that clock.
Well, Lonnie just lost it. San Antonio will bring it down. Now the clock's so important. 1:07, tied at 93.
Very nice play by Mike Mitchell. I would guess George Gervin. What a good guess.
I think Mitchell or Gervin, of course. Gus tipped it away. Can he get it back? He and Jack go after it. Gus saves it. 49 seconds to go.
Another timeout?
No.
Just run the play you were planned.
That's right. You had it already planned. You didn't get to run it. Can't be too tricky with you. You got to give somebody a good shot in the next 5 seconds. Going to be Jack. What happened? They're in the huddle. They're going to call San Antonio ball. Oh, my. I got to see it again on camera. I had 6 Giants in front of me. Let's take another look at it right here.
No idea what happened here. There's Mike Mitchell again. No, that's Johnny Moore.
Went off Jack's foot and out of play. It'll be San Antonio ball. Good call. That one hurt because that gives San Antonio the bucket. They can stall it all the way down. The basketball, rather, with 26 seconds to go.
Well, a moment ago, San Antonio had the opportunity to go with the basket. They turned it over, and now Seattle just as quickly turns the ball back over.
See, I'm criticizing when I never played a second of this game, but Jack had the ball at about 9 feet away his range with 5 seconds to go. Yet he was trying to get close to the bucket. Maybe at that point you better take that shot.
Well, he had Corzine on the rise. In other words, he had Corzine in the air. At least his momentum was up. His body balance was up. So that's why he put the ball to the deck to get a little bit closer into his, higher percentage range. Had Corzine stayed down, I think that most certainly Jack would have shot the ball.
I understand it. 93-93, but now 26 seconds to go, and momentum has jumped out of a Sonic uniform for the second into a San Antonio suit. Second game tomorrow night, Kingdom. Third game Friday night, San Antonio. Fourth game Sunday, San Antonio. If more are needed, it alternates between Seattle, San Antonio, and then Seattle. Meanwhile, the Lakers play in Phoenix.
You would expect a game like this to go down to the wire with two talented teams that are very well coached. And that's exactly what we have.
30 for Mitchell, 29 for Gervin as they lead San Antonio. Supersonics, Jack Sikma with 26, Lonnie with 20, Gus with 17. All right, Olberding is going to try and play on that sprained ankle. 26 seconds remaining. All right, let's watch, wait, and see what happens.
Now they're going to mess around out here and just hold the ball until time to go. I would imagine about that 10-second mark, 12-second mark in the shot clock.
Just holding it. Sonics are going to play back. 13, 10 on the shot clock. Sonics only have 2 between the shot clock and the quarter. More to the right side. Gervin, he made it. Timeout, 5 seconds. Uh-oh, George Gervin hits his, 31st point of the night? Take another look as they bring it inbounds. Great play.
That looked easy, didn't it? Johnny Moore dribbles, clears aside, and here comes a double screen, and George Gervin, who doesn't need much daylight, had a great deal of it. Of course, he just calmly drops that 18-footer in.
All right, let's try and get our microphone in and see what Lenny wants to do right here.
Take the ball out. Listen, we got another timeout, Frank. I think we have one more time. Okay, look. We'll take the ball out. All right. Lonnie will take it out. Now look. Jack, we're going to come down and set the screen on Gus like we did before, right? Donaldson's on the screen on Fred, take it down. Now, if Donaldson is wide open, Donaldson turn around.
Now, Lenny's telling everybody what he wants done, and a couple of the Sonics are kind of bending over, blocking the microphone. They do that because they're not sure it isn't San Antonio listening in, and they want to be intent on what Lenny's saying. We know he's asked Frank if they had another timeout, which they do. So if they do not get the clear inbounds pass, then they can just call a second timeout. Spurs lead by 5, or 2, 95-93. 5 seconds remaining. So the Sonics have a chance, and Fred Brown will come in as Hans sits down, and Lonnie Shelton will throw the inbounds pass. They want Gus, though they want Fred. If it's Gus, he'll probably go to the hoop. If it's Fred, he'll pull up and shoot with about 2 seconds to go. Here we go. All right, when it touches somebody inbounds. They're going to lob it to Donaldson. He had it, lost it, it's loose on the floor. They throw it to Olberding, and it's over. The San Antonio Spurs win it. Well, they threw it to James Donaldson, and the Spurs come to Seattle, and they win the first game of the playoff, 95-93, and the 14,000-plus faithful of the Sonics are a little bit shocked because the Supersonics came from 19 down to tie it up at 93. They lost the ball out of bounds off of Jack's foot with 26 seconds to go. They brought it down, held it, gave it to Gervin with 5 seconds to go, and to all the credit in the world to George Gervin. The Iceman had ice in his veins, and he hit his 31st point of the night. The Sonics went down, tried the lob pass to Donaldson. It would not go as he slipped off his hands into a crowd. San Antonio saved it, and the Spurs win game 1. So the Sonics must win 4 out of 6. The Spurs only have to win 3 out of 6. The final again, San Antonio 95, the Sonics 93.
Boy, when I was a rookie, I thought I had it made. Life seemed as easy as hitting the bucket. But then I got traded a few times. And then I realized that the only one looking